More examples of breaking down barriers about emotions. So really simply, I've come across that lots, and sometimes I won't even, the leader I'm talking to, I'll mention the emotional culture deck because that's the tool they're buying into or they're using with their team. But I'll use the language game and tool more than I'll use the word emotion in it. I'll say, let's get together to play with this game rather than let's use the emotional culture deck, because often that word can be a little bit polarizing and scare people off. So sometimes I won't even talk about that with the team or in the comms. It'll just be, we're going to play this game to help us talk about our team environment. And I'll leave the word emotion out of there and it becomes a bit of a Trojan horse. There was this really great podcast and with Brene Brown. I was listening to her the other day, and she's been doing work in vulnerability for 20 years, 25 years. And she said for the first 15 years, she wasn't able to use the word vulnerability when she was meeting Fortune 500 companies because she'd get laughed out of the room almost. And so she didn't use the word vulnerability. She used the word team building and team environment as a Trojan horse to get in there. And once she was in there, she talked about vulnerability because that's her stuff. And I love that notion of a Trojan horse, that we can maybe say, let's use this game to define our culture. And then once you're in the room, the game is about emotions, but because it's a game, you don't have all that aversion that you would have leading up to it because you're just using this game. So certain teams, I'm not afraid of just saying, we're going to use this game to help us define our team environment rather than using, sometimes even the word culture scares people, which is scary in itself, right? And I'm sure some of us will have come across this. And so I just say, this is a game to help us define or map out our team environment. And then once they're in the room and they've got the game, then it's a different story because they're engaging with it, playing with it, and we're giving them access to something that they didn't know they could do, which they can do, it turns out. Yeah. So, yeah, don't be afraid to not use, it sounds counterintuitive, right? But don't be afraid to not use the name of the game when you are talking about it with some people or with the teams themselves. It can work. Yeah. I'll see if I can find that Brene Brown interview as well, if people are interested in that with the Trojan horse, because it's really, really inspiring. And I was like, there's hope for us, and there's hope for me, and there's hope for us. If she can go through 15 years and not being able to talk about vulnerability and then use her Trojan horse for all that time and still do really great work, I think this is a bit of a Trojan horse for us as well.